Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss question number 1 to sum. Given an array of integer nums and integer target, return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. There are three conditions here. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution. You cannot use the same element twice, and you can return the answer in any order. So let's see the three approaches to solve this question. First is going to be brute force approach. What you have to do is, in this approach, first you have to pick the first element using I, second element using j, then you are going to calculate the sum, and if the sum is equal to target, then you are going to return the value. So basically, in this question, in this method, you are going to use two nested loops. So the time complexity is going to be O of n square. So let's visualize how this is going to work. First, we'll have an array and with a target, and will initialize two variables I and j. Since we cannot use the same element twice, we have to use the j from the next element. Okay, so here we have I, here j, current sum is 5, it's not equal to target, so we're going to go for next iteration. Here 3 plus 4 is 7, so we are going to next iteration. Since j ends here, so we are going to iterate I for the next value. So 2, and j we have only this space left, so 2 plus 4 is equal to 6, so sum is equal to 6, so we're going to return this value. So basically in this method we're going to use nested loop to solve a question. Okay, so let's see how this codes out. First you have to use int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. This is for first value, picking first value. Then for int j equals to I plus 1, j less than n, j plus plus, if nums of I plus nums of j equals target, then we are going to return I comma j, since the question demands us to return the indices, and in the end I also have this to complete my function. Okay, since we have vector int as return type, so let's run this. We have used I plus 1 so that we cannot because we cannot overlap the same value, so we are going to iterate this way. Okay, so let's submit this, and that's it. We have done this question using O of n square time complexity, but this method requires only O of one space complexity. Next we are going to move to second method. So let's see sorting plus 2-point approach to solve this question. So in this method what you have to do is, first you have to create a vector of pair which is going to store value comma index. So this is going to take space complexity of n. Next we are going to sort this vector based on values. Okay, so due to the sorting we are going to have a time complexity of n log n. Next what you have to do, you have to take two pointers, first one at the beginning and other at the end, and then you are going to iterate over this vector, where first you are going to compute the sum basis of L on the basis of L and R, and then we are going to check these three conditions. First, where sum is equal to target, then we are going to directly return. If it's greater than, then we are going to do R minus minus, else we are going to do L plus plus. And this is the visualization for this problem. So first, we had this array, then we are going to convert it to a temp vector where we are going to store it on the basis of value comma index. So value comma index, value comma index. Next we are going to use inbuilt sort function to sort this temp to sorted temp. Okay, and using inbuilt function we are directly going to sort it on the basis of the first values, not the indexes but the first values. Okay, next what you have is this sorted temp. Now we are going to initialize two pointer, and then we are going to calculate the sum, and if we found the sum is equal to target, then we are going to return I comma j or L comma R. Okay, so let's code this one. So first thing that we need is a vector that is going to store a pair int comma int temp. Next, we are going to fill this vector. So for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, temp of temp dot push back nums of I comma I. Okay. Next, what you have to do is you have to sort this vector. Okay. So we are going to use directly inbuilt sort function temp dot begin comma temp dot end. So we are directly using sort function, and uh, when that using directly the sort function, it's going to sort basis on the first values. Okay. Next, what we have is we are going to need two pointers. So int l is equal to 0, int r equal to n minus 1. Next, we are going to use a while loop. While l is less than r, now we are going to compute the sum. So int sum is equal to temp of l dot first. So this way we are picking the first value inside the temp and the first value inside the pair. Okay. Next, we are going to use temp of r dot sec temp of r dot first. So this way we are getting the last element using r, but the first value inside the pair. Okay. Next, we are going to compare it on the basis of these three conditions. So if sum equals target, then we are directly going to return it. We are going to return temp of l dot second to access the index value of temp of l and temp of r dot second. Okay. Else if sum is greater than target, then we obviously have to reduce r. So we are going to do r minus minus, else we are going to do l plus plus. The third condition being sum is less than target. Okay. So these are the three conditions. Let's run this one. So let's submit this. So this way we have done this problem using O of n log n time complexity. Let's see the third method to solve this question. Now we are going to see the third method to solve this question, which is going to be a hash map based approach. This method is going to take of n time complexity. Okay. So basically what you have to do is you have to create a hash map. Okay. Then we are going to store value comma index inside this. So while traversing this array, what you're going to do is we are going to calculate a complement, and then if the complement exists inside the map, okay, then we are going to return index of both of this num and index based on the map. We are going to return both of this, else we are going to store the current element, the store the nums of I inside the map. Okay. So let's see how this method works. So what you have to do is first, uh, we had this array. What you have to do is as we reach this first value, we can see the hash map is currently empty. So we have to fill this value inside the hash map. Okay. So 3 is, so in the next iteration we have 3 inside the hash map, and currently we reach 2. The complement for 2 is going to be 6 minus 2, the target minus the current element, which is going to be 4. Since 4 is not inside this hash map, so we then find the complement. So we are going to push this 2 inside the hash map. Okay. So it's gonna look like this. So here you can see that we have this array. We are in the next iteration. Our current hash map will look like 3 with index 0 and 2 with index 1. Now we reached 4. The complement for 4 is going to be 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. And we can find 2 inside this unordered map. We can find it at 1. Hence, we are going to return the index pair, that's the both of the indexes inside this. Okay, so let's code this one. First thing what you have to do is we have to create an unordered map int comma int mp. Let's name it mp. And now what you have to do is you have to use int I equals 0 less than n I plus plus. You're going to traverse on nums and we are going to calculate the complement. So int complement is equal to target minus nums of I. Okay. Next, what you have to do is you have to find this complement inside the map. So if mp dot find complement is not equal to mp dot end. So if we found a complement, then we can directly return an answer as I comma mp of complement. Okay, you can directly return. Else, what you have to do is you have to fill this unordered map as mp of nums of I is equal to I. So this is the value and index pair which we are filling. And if we found a complement, then we are going to return the answer. And this is the whole code for it. Let's run this. Let's submit this. So you can see we have solved this question using of n time complexity. Thank you.